Hi everyone, you're live on Good for the Game TV. It's Thursday night, 8:30. It's time for GGGaming Gone Mad. Well, good to be with you. I can tell you on Tuesday this week, I wasn't sure I would be. I was absolutely down and out. Doctor said it could be swine flu. Hopefully that sounds worse than it is. Anyways, I've been heaped up on medication, got a bit of a croaky voice, so apologies about that. But looking forward to talking sport because I'm really looking forward to the sporting weekend, in particular the Super Rugby quarterfinals. There's, of course, Cricket World Cup fixtures as well. Getting a little bit worried that the Cricket World Cup's looking like a four-horse race and the organisers can't be too happy with that. And then we'll see what else Gary Lentin has got to talk about. And he does join us now, Gary Lentin. Assume you're down in Cape Town there, Gary?
Yeah, absolutely, Brent. I am in Joburg next week, as it turns out. But yeah, I'm here now. We're expecting a really, really cold weather starting tomorrow and a lot of rain as well, you know. But right now, it's been magnificent. Played a bit of golf this week and everything. Brent, that's not bacon over there.
Where's that on my head?
Yeah, no, just worried about that swine.
Oh, yes. The swine flu.
Yeah.
Gary, I've got to warn you, don't make me laugh on the show too much. I'll break into a coughing fit.
Okay, I understand it. So, yeah, all good, John. I mean, I'm not in the same camp as you with the cricket. Yes, I agree it's a four-horse race. But generally, when you get down to semi-finals, it is a four-horse race. So I'm sure there's no huge surprises there. And the other games, you know, they're not going to fizzle out, hey, Brent, I don't think from a organizer's point of view. There's a huge Pakistani, Indian, even we saw Bangladesh today following there. Those games are always going to be popular. Obviously, the home nation is going to be popular. Yes, there are problems in games where South Africa might play teams that we haven't mentioned. You know what I'm saying, Brent? But I think I've been enjoying the cricket more than you from the day go. You know what I'm saying? So perhaps I'm just a little bit more optimistic than you are and seeing it in a better light. I'm really enjoying it, to be honest.
Yeah. Look, I must say, I have enjoyed the cricket. Even I was watching that Bangladesh-Australia game you're talking about. And I mean, I was finding it quite amusing when Bangladesh had a score at like, I don't know, 21 and over. And the commentators were making out like it was race on, you know.
Right,
but,
yeah.
but I mean, what you're saying about the crowds is so correct. As far as, I mean, when that Mamadula came out and started slamming it around, the fact that they couldn't win the game was irrelevant. The crowd were absolutely loving it. I guess for me, I always look at it a bit from a punting angle, and I prefer a bit of needle in those games as well. But I suppose just looking at it would have been nice maybe to have a few more crunch games. But the reality is we're going to get the best four teams in world cricket going through to the semi-finals.
No doubt about it. And the other thing is this, Brent, from a betting perspective, right? You know, there's been one thing that, look, I don't know how it all works with algorithms and everything, but most things are directed from Bet365. And I'll be honest with you, they should be shot. I've always thought their cricket offering's been a little bit poor when it comes to pricing up. And it's been quite evident this World Cup. Every single time a good side bats first, they're 20, 30 runs below where they should be with the run mark. And I'm telling punters, I prefer if they gave GG a miss and they went to other bookmakers for this, right?
Yes.
They seem to miss by 40, 50 runs sometimes. The run market, the first initial line seems to be hitting overs 45, 46, 47. You know what I'm saying, Brent? And I think the transition from RPL 20 overs where you have to get going straight away hasn't happened yet. You don't have to do that in 50 overs. And the guys setting the markets or the algorithms are more likely, right? See these slowy starts, 4.5, 5 runs and over. And they think, hold on, these oaks may not get to 290, but today's market came out at 330. Australia were never going to get less than 330 on that wicket against that bowling.
Yes.
And that's the truth, you know. To a point, let me put it to you this way. When Australia were all out, and weren't all out, the 50 overs were complete, and Bangladesh went in, they came out with another run market because they didn't think they'd obviously get the 380 odd, you know, and their market was over 300, right?
Really?
So, yeah, I mean, how can you expect Bangladesh to be 20 runs inferior to Australia when you're betting 1 to 8 before the game starts, you know?
Yeah, no, it's true.
But
and I mean, I know a lot of guys getting involved in those markets as well. I always find there's something, Gary, I always called it over the years. I've written about it a little bit as well. Something someone's called what I call bookmakers lag. And there's a small window of opportunity for punters where bookmakers will cotton onto something and they'll adapt slowly to it, you know, or they'll overreact or something like that. And I look at something, I know the under-20s rugby, for example, the New Zealand started the tournament as favourites, like something like 15 to 10 favourites.
Right.
And then they played their first game and they weren't terribly impressive in beating Georgia. They came around the handicap. And then they played, I can't remember if they played us last or whatever, but anyway, they played the baby box. And they started favourites, and the baby box should have beaten them by further. They were far superior. Everyone started talking about what a great team the baby box were. And when I looked at it, they came out and lost in the All Blacks lost to Wales. And then I looked at it and I thought, you know what, France are a good thing at 15 to 10 year against the baby box. And they're right, but it's because people still can't picture a bad New Zealand side. And the reality with this under-20 side is they are a bad New Zealand under-20 side. And there's that period where punters could profit because the bookmakers are slow to respond.
Well, there are two things there I want to comment on, both of them to do with World Cup rugby. The first one is, I think if we go back 4 years ago, Brent, at first, if I remember correctly, and it's hard at my age to remember these things, the teams were battling to get a lot of points on the board for the first couple of weeks. I don't know if you remember, and all the total points were coming out at 54, 55. And the teams were, the All Blacks in particular couldn't get 30 points against Georgia. Remember, Brent, all the minuses were far out of place. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Minus up. And that continued for 2 or 3 weeks. Then the turnaround came, you know what I'm saying? And then the bookmakers had reacted the other way. So, yes, there are these gaps. I'll give you a perfect example where if a team starts off 1 to 5, right, and they go a goal down, right, they sometimes, the other team that are a goal up are still great value because, you know what I mean, the market, whether it be Betfair, where you know what I mean, where there's so much that you have to get through, so much sort of money that you have to get through to get to the right price sometimes, doesn't get there quickly enough. You know what I'm saying? And that's where against the short price. Let me be honest with you. And I said the other thing was going to be the World Cup. There's no doubt in my mind that the World Cup betting is wrong. New Zealand, I'm not saying they can't win it. Don't get me wrong for 1 second. But New Zealand are not even money 11 to 10 shots to win this World Cup. That they're not, Brent. You know what I mean? That means that in a semi-final and a final, and that's a quarter-final as well, if I'm correct. You know what I mean? But in a final and a quarter-final, you're talking that they're going to be 40 to 10 both times. Are they? If they have to play, let's just take a wild...
England. They'll play England probably in the semi.
England in the semis and then Wales in the final. They're not 4 to 10 against either of those sides, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Not even close, right? So how can they be 12 to 10 or 11 to 10 now? Which means the value is somewhere else. You just got to go seek that out and find it.
Exactly. And at this point, it's a stop and welcome the guys in the live chat. Thanks, Ruan. He's saying, hope I get better soon. Guys, good to have you. We will be having our traditional 500 Rand competition. We'll find one of the Super Rugby games to talk to you about that. Gary, I am jumping around a bit, talking about all these things, but let's go back to the cricket first, and then we'll move to the Super Rugby. Bafana, I nearly said. The Proteas obviously gone now. What did you make of that performance against New Zealand?
No, I mean, I don't see too many positives from that. You know what I'm saying, Brent? I really don't. You know, it's a game. Let's just put it into perspective, right? It was a game that they had to win. Yes, they left everything out there in the field, and I know Puff's saying that they left everything out there. Can't ask for more. Did they leave everything out there while they were batting? Was 240 odd enough? In my opinion, go down in you know what I mean, in a blaze of glory, have a dip. You know what I'm saying, Brent? I think we'd all rather see them go and have a go and post a total that was going to challenge New Zealand completely. You know what I mean? Yes, they won towards the end. It was a difficult wicket, which got more difficult. I think South Africa let 20 runs out there. That's what I honestly believe, you know. And a lot of that, I think, came from their attitude. You know, I go back to, I don't want to point fingers. You know, at the end of the day, they haven't been good enough, right? And that's life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't excuses. All these pathetic. It's the same thing. They would have loved to win, and I'm sure they did their best and everything. Maybe that poor game plan. You would love to win the Tour de France. You love your cycling. I can put you on any in the world. You're not going to win it with all the best intent in the world. Am I right, Brett? You're not going to win it. South Africa not good enough to win this World Cup. They can play the game tomorrow. They can play the game next month. They can bring it to South Africa. They can play anywhere, right? They're just not good enough. They don't have enough quality batsmen, and we knew that before they went. That's the truth, you know. And that's why I had all those specials on South Africa, because before they went, we knew that.
We knew. No, quite right. I mean, I've made comments on Facebook and that on a lot of the, let's call them not punting sites, just general fans, going on about it. They can't believe this and that. I'm saying to people, what can't you believe? This honestly was not a good side going over. Yes, we got I wouldn't say we got the best bowling attack, but we got a hell of a competitive bowling attack. But we honestly don't have the batsmen. We don't have the form batsmen. We don't, and we needed yesterday. That was a tough wicket to bat on. And what you needed yesterday was a Kane Williamson, someone who could bat at a reasonable pace. You didn't have to fly and allow others to play strokes around him.
Correct, exactly, 100%. But just to get to the bowling attack, and I'm a fan of a lot of the bowlers there, right? How many of these bowlers, and as good as attack is, we think, would make, yes, a lot would make England, and a lot of them would make Australia. But I'm going to make a point now, and that is where I see the value in this tournament. How many of these bowlers would even make the Indian side? I don't think too many. This Indian side is a super, super cricket side, Brent. And to me, I don't care if they're playing at Buckingham Palace, right? England should not be shorter than India. India are a super. I mean, just tell me where it is. Tell me which South African could make that Indian side, could improve it.
No, I agree with you 100%. For me, look, England are a quality side, Australia a quality side, but India have got everything, Gary.
Absolutely. I mean, if you took, before the one debate England had before the World Cup was whether to select Archer or not. If they hadn't selected Archer, they'd have Dink and bugger all chance, Brent. He is the guy who gives that attack some teeth. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the rest, Woods and Wokes and Pokes and Stokes and whatever they do call themselves, you know what I mean, are okay. But England have to post totals to defend, you know what I'm saying? Whereas India can bowl you out. I promise you they can, Brent. They got bowlers that have got so much variation. I just think India, to me, at 22 to 10, 5 to 2, are a good bet.
I still they are good. Handamon commenting India have a much better attack than England, and Peter Paul commenting that you could put me on a motorbike, Gary, and I still wouldn't win the Tour de France.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? That's true, you know. Yeah, that's true. I mean, even with a helicopter, you'd be under pressure, you know. But yeah,
on the Tour de France note, though, Gary, I want to say we've got to have a couple of specials for the tour, eh?
Definitely.
I'll come up with them for you.
I think I'd like that, you know what I mean? We'll have a lot of special. I mean, at this stage, it's turning into a bit of a sponsor's disaster there with their two superstars, one definitely out and the other one probable.
Yeah, evidently Thomas will be there, but yeah, Froome's definitely gone. I'll tell you what it does do, though. It opens the Tour de France up with Froome not being there. It makes it a lot more exciting. But there's certain stages, and I often say this to my punting mates, Gary, there's certain stages where I would love to almost run a book on the Tour de France. Because there's some stages where it's a sprint finish, and yes, one of the top four in the betting is going to win. And sometimes you can even narrow that down a little bit. But there's stages in a cycling event, it's normally halfway through. It's doubtful whether the guys are going to chase. There could be an accident. You get an odd guy that wins that no one's ever heard of. And on that particular day, the bookies take everything.
Yeah. That does happen from time to time. For sure it does. You know what I mean? I think in the Tour de France, the stages where there's specialized sprints, you're not going to get past the 3 or 4 sprinters. You know what I mean? You're not, as a rule. You know what I mean? And those huge Alp climbs and everything, the climbers are going to win it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But flat 240k rides where, you know what I mean, the guys in contention know that they can't get hurt. You know what I'm saying? And 2 or 3 mad Frenchmen go on a wild cycle with a couple of Spaniards chasing him, and they go, you know what I mean, 30Ks, you know what I mean, clear and everything. And, you know, the peloton are just sitting there talking. They've never heard of the 5 guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Postman, you know? Those throw up the big results, don't they, Brent?
They do. As I say, especially early in the tour, the sprinters teams will be determined to bring it back together, and they'll let a week break go on purpose. But later in the tour, can get very interesting. But we'll talk about the Tour de France closer to the time. Just quickly, before you go off the World Cup, any price boosts there, Gary?
For what's that, Brent?
Oh, sorry, on the World Cup, any price boosts? I saw something about Joe Root or something.
Yes, we got to be the leading run scorer tomorrow. I think he was 28 to 10. I think he's gone up to 7 to 2 now.
Okay.
And Malinga as well, to be the leading Sri Lankan bowler, obviously. A bit of value there for the boys. I think it'll be interesting. I mean, you know, Root is overdue to. I'm not overdue. He's getting a lot of runs, but I think he's going to kick in tomorrow and have a knock like Morgan had the other day. You know what I'm saying? I think Root wants to show the world that he can bat quick and he's not stodgy and he's a proper one-day batsman as well. And I think he is. And I think tomorrow could be his day. There is value there. There's no doubt about that in my mind, you know?
Well, Couch Critic agreeing with you. He's saying he'll be taking that price boost on Root. He's a big fan of Root. I must say also, I do think Root is an excellent player. And let's move on though to Super Rugby, Gary, because that's what it's all about for me this weekend. We've got the quarterfinals. You guys are out nice and early with your handicaps. As always, I had a quick pop onto your website now. We'll start off with the Crusaders Highlanders game. I see you've got the handicap here at 14.5, and I think it's been fairly stable all week. Yeah.
13.5 seems to be the market. We're a little bit higher. I had a lot of discussions with Dave about this one, and you know what I mean. He sort of thought that the Crusaders, if they get far enough ahead, will bring off players and everything, and that maybe I was too high going at 14.5, and I should be 13.5 or 12.5. I see it completely the other way. I see the Crusaders, once they get ahead and the Highlanders getting down on themselves the last 15 minutes, they could go and start to score a lot of quick runs. Brent, I found the picture I wanted to show you.
Okay.
You can see the picture there properly.
A license plate.
No,
but I can't quite see it.
Have
Oh,
you not seen?
let me put you on the screen. That's the problem, is it's looking at me. Oh, the broken windscreen.
Okay, so you know what that is? That's my wife's car that was parked outside my apartment. And a
Yeah.
professional cyclist came riding here. And there's a chute, as you know, by my house, a parking lot. And the
Yeah.
wind, a professional cyclist, and picked him up and threw him head first through my wife's car.
Head first?
Yeah.
To take a bike or what?
What's that?
To take a bike or what?
To take a bike.
Did you say they picked the professional cyclist up and threw him in the car, or the cyclist picked someone up?
Oh, the cyclist's head went straight through the car window.
Oh, my word. Jeez, yeah, that's crazy.
Can you see that?
Yeah, no, we can see that. We can see that. That is crazy, eh?
Head. And if he is watching, if he wants to come collect his ear, we do have it in the ear. No, jokes aside, the poor guy had to have his ear sewn back on and everything, Brent. And he said it was a casual Saturday morning ride. And, he always wears his helmet, and thank God he does. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's another story for another day. So, yeah, what were we talking about there?
Crusaders handicap fairly stable. I mean, I'm with you there. If I was a bookmaker, I'd be on the high side. I grabbed a bit of 12.5 Crusaders. I had a good look at this game because I wrote the preview for Good for the Game. And the more I looked at it, the more I thought the Crusaders, they came to hand nicely in their last match. All of their players are back. They've had a week off. They're big match players. And they're playing against the Highlanders side, obviously coming off a great victory, but they haven't had a great season. No. And I just think the Crusaders going to be all class. We will talk more about this on the rugby show afterwards, but a bet I'll be looking for is potentially low on Highlanders points. I had a look at the Crusaders playoff record, and it's phenomenal in terms of defense. I think the most points they've conceded in their last 6 playoffs was 18, and that was last year in the final.
Well, I love that bet. I really do, Brent. I think you've thought out of the box a little bit there. I think that's a pretty classy bet, and guys should be following that. I agree. It's highly unlikely that the Highlanders are going to score 20 points tomorrow, anywhere near that,
Well, let's move on to our competition game now, Gary. And I want to move on to the Jaguares against the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs, they are underdogs for this game. And, guys, we'll run our regular 500 Rand competition. I want to know who's going to win the game, because I think there'll be a bit of a split on this one. I want to know by how many points. At the tiebreak, I want to know total points in the match. Because, Gary, this also, it was priced up. I mean, it's not difficult to cap quarterfinals generally. And I came -2.5. I see there's 3.5 and 4.5. But generally speaking, I get the feeling that punters are split almost down the middle in this game.
100%. We're going back to maybe what you said earlier in the show. You know what I mean? People can't believe that a New Zealand side can go to Argentina over what we've seen there for the past 7 years and get started. You know what I'm saying, Brent? But this is a different Jaguares side. You know what I'm saying? And it's also a hell of a different Chiefs side. Yes, they've got some big names coming back as well. The Chiefs tomorrow, well, whenever it is.
Sure. Yeah, it is quite. I think it's Saturday morning our time at about 10 past midnight or something ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. So it's Friday night, Saturday morning, exactly. Brent, sure. This to me, you say it's an easy game to handicap. Yes, it is, because you know that you can put something in there that's going to make the punters not know for sure what to do. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean that you know what to do. And I have absolutely no feel in this game. I don't know what makes me think that the Jaguares, they are a better side. They've been so much more consistent the whole season. They got everything going for them. They win this, they stay at home next week, and they have a home semi-final. Are they going to choke?
Not impossible. And the Chiefs, let's face it, are coming to hand as well. I'll tell you what my interest lays. One of the bookies came out quite early with their points lines. I think they may have taken them back down, but they had 54.5 points, Gary. And I'm expecting the line to come out closer to 50 points. So I took the 54.5. Because I do think that this will be, if you look at the head-to-head between the sides in Argentina, they have been 57, 56 points the 2 games. But this is a playoff game, and I think both teams are going to be very, very reliant on defense in this game. And I think any quote I can get here, look, I'm already on, but if I could get 52.5 and under, I'd be going unders.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I don't think there'll be 50 points. We can get along the same lines, yeah. I really don't, Brett. When you go back, I think it's going to be an old-fashioned, Argentinian game, you know what I'm saying, without anybody taking any real chances. I think it's going to be a very, very tight game. I don't know which way I'd go, but yes, under 52.5 points, definitely.
Well, I can tell you most of the guys are coming for the Jags, but we do have one guy, Peter Paul, who's gone for the Chiefs by 10 points. And the total points line is generally around the 50-point mark. Let's go on to the next game, because I'm conscious of time here as well. Don't want to rush the next show too much. We got the Bulls against traveling away to the Hurricanes. I was at Loftus on Saturday afternoon with my son and his 2 friends. What an absolutely great game. I also had all sorts of bets ending on the Bulls -4.5, the Bulls to win, the Bulls over 30 points. It was a cracking game for me. Probably my best weekend of fixed odds punting I've had in many a year. The question is, Gary, do the Bulls have any chance? I should imagine you're around 13.5 points here, Hurricane favorite.
Correct. No, I don't think that they do, Brent. I think it's just too much, you know what I'm saying? And, they've done okay. They've been blown a bit of hot and cold this thing, and I don't want to spend too much time on the Bulls. We've had our ups and downs with them. I think this is probably a bridge too far for them. It's a good Hurricane side. They've also got the right personnel rested and in the right place for this game, and I think that they'll run away with it. And again, I think it's one of those games that if the Bulls are 10 or 12 points behind with 7 or 8 minutes to go, it could turn into carnage the last few minutes, Once they start to hear the drone of the aeroplane, you know what I mean? I'm not sure how much guts they'll show.
I tweeted on, I was watching the cricket, and we had about 5 overs left, and we were crawling along against New Zealand. And I tweeted, when are we going to launch? And one of the guys replied back to me, when we leave Heathrow Airport. I think it was actually spot on. And yeah, I hear what you're saying. This is a game that makes me a bit nervous. I'll probably be looking for the points lines. The next game's also got me a little bit stumped. I am leaning towards the home team, and that's the Brumbies against the Sharks. The cap here, I think I went 9.5. I think there's generally 8.5, 7.5 around.
We 6.5.
6.5.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was 16.5, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks win it. The Sharks can win this game, Brent.
Yes.
They can, without hope, you know what I'm saying? I'll tell you an interesting story, what I heard about the coach and that offline, and then you can make up your mind if you want to make it public knowledge, you know what I'm saying? It's fairly hairy, but it's a good spread. Let's be honest, 6.5 is a good spread, Brent? There's no doubt.
No, that's it. I think all the handicaps are well set. I've spoken to a lot of guys who, along with me, actually, I mean, we had a great show on our handicap. We were all over all of the tips last week. A lot of us made bucks, but we all said the same thing this week. It's not an easy week. And from a handicap perspective, I must say I'm leaning towards the Crusaders as my best bet. I do think they're going to pull away. And I like the total points play low in the Jaguares game. But I'm not overly confident on anything. But it's going to be a cracking weekend of betting. And to the guys watching on the live show, join us at 9 o'clock. We're going to have a guest from Zurich. Pierre Ball is going to be joining us. And an outside chance we'll have a New Zealand guest joining us as well. He was a bit of a late. I sent him the invite very late. I don't know if he'll make tonight's show. It will be great to get some Kiwi input as well. And then, Gary, from your side, anything else to close off?
Yeah, let's try to see if we can give away a quick 500 Rand voucher to the poker tournament, Brent?
Right.
Okay, I've got my watch. I like to do things that can't change and everything. For 30 seconds, let the guys get in there. If you would, the closest person provided is in within 5 points, okay? What's my average resting heart rate been today?
What is Gary's average resting heart rate been today? And flatline is not the answer, gentlemen.
And it's all, I don't know, I'm going to show it to you, but...
No, that's fine. You tell me more or less when to finish there. To bear in mind, the guys have got about a 10-second lag before they hear us.
Okay, so we'll give them another 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah, give them a few more. They haven't started answering yet. I'll tell you when the first answer's coming in. You want me to call them to you?
Yeah, call them. And we'll
I think Jason Denman's been optimistic. It's, man, your resting heart rate, 62.
Right, who was that from?
Jason Denman.
Okay.
Stephen Mark, 74. Peter Paul, 91.
I hope he also has a nice, healthy weekend, you know.
Dino Zambetti, 82. Sean Nicholas, 79. Nothing else. There we go. Hindemont, 80.
Okay. Right, well, I mean...
Anybody close?
Yeah. There's somebody that's there within 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see that there. Wait. Can you see it?
61.
61. So the first 62 wins.
Jason Denman.
Well done. 500 Rand.
500 Rand poker voucher. Jason, just get hold of me and I'll put you in touch with Kerry.
Next week, we're going to have a 10 grand special, Brent, 10 grand free rolls, you know what I mean, for something really exciting, you know what I mean? So let the guys log on there and let's see where we go from there.
Excellent. Now, Gary, if you're up in Joburg, let's hook up for a lunch or something. It'll be good to see you again.
I'll give you a shout. I'll see you then. And all the guys will see you Thursday. Enjoy the next show.
Excellent. Gary, thanks very much. And thanks to all the guys in the live chat. If you haven't subscribed to our videos yet, go down below and hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in about 5 minutes for the handicap. Rugby chat that matters.